constituency, a member of parliament. He wants to find out from the Minister of Finance and National Planning in A, why over 1 billion in non-tax revenues had not been remitted to the Treasury as of June 2024, and in B, what are the urgent measures are being taken to ensure that the revenue is recovered by the Treasury.
Would you expect Nakonde, the Member of Parliament, Mr. Simumba, to ask the Minister of Agriculture why some farmers in Nakonde district who supplied maize to the Food Reserve Agency during the 2024 crop marketing season have not yet been paid, and what urgent measures are being taken to expedite the payments to the affected farmers to enable them prepare for the 2024-2025 farming season.
Mr. Cliff Mpundu, who is a Chamber Constituency Member of Parliament, who posed a question to the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation. He wants to find out in two parts: in A, whether the government is aware that the past 1 month there has been critical shortage of water in Chamber Parliamentary constituency, and in B, if so, what urgent measures are being taken to resolve the water crisis and prevent waterborne diseases.
So there you have it. Those are the three questions under Standing Order 82 that will be considered on the floor of the House. We have 5 questions for all answer under Standing Order number 80 that will also be considered on the floor of the House. We expect Mr. Singombe of Dundu Mwenzi constituency to ask the Minister of Education how many teachers were deployed to community schools in Dundu Mwenzi Parliamentary constituency from 2021 to 2023 year by year. In the other part of the question, the Dundu Mwenzi lawmaker wants to find out why the government had not deployed teachers to the following community schools as of April 2024. That's Maila Male, Chipondo, Chizunda, Mpango, and Nakalombwe, and when the government will deploy teachers to the schools at B, and if so, what measures are being taken to ensure the protection and promotion of the welfare of employees.
Under question 97 is expected to come from Ms. Marjorie Nakaponda. She is the Isoka Constituency Member of Parliament. She has posed the question to the Minister of Community Development and Social Services. She wants to find out what measures the government is implementing to enhance the fight against child marriages countrywide.
Right, and so in case you've just tuned in, live parliamentary proceedings will take the air at 14:30 hours, and before that happens, we're just looking at some of the questions that will be considered on the floor of the House today. Question number 98 is expected to come from Mr. Katakwe of Solwezi East. He's going to ask the Minister of Information and Media what the contractual relationship between the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC, and Star Times is following the completion of the digital migration program, what the cost of the digital migration was, who the funders of the project were, and whether Star Times was still assisting the maintenance of equipment at ZNBC as of April 2024.
We have a question 99, which is coming from Mr. Peter Peary, who is a Mkaika Constituency Member of Parliament. He has posed the question to the Minister of Finance and National Planning. He wants to find out in A, whether the government has any plans to reduce the Zambian kwacha, and in B, if so, when the plans will be implemented.
And the last question on the order paper will come from Mr. Mutale of Chitambo constituency, who asked the Minister of Labour and Social Security whether the government is aware of the poor working conditions of employees working in commercial farms in Mukushi farming block, and what measures are being taken to ensure the protection and promotion of the welfare of employees. So those are the 5 questions for oral answer under Standing Order number 80 that will be considered on the floor of the House.
Right now we take you to the chamber. As you can see, the Speaker's procession making its way into the chamber.
Honorable members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness, has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. We beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Honorable members, I have some announcements to make. The first one, honorable members, I wish to inform the House that the Electoral Reform Technical Committee, constituted by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, is conducting national sittings to receive public submissions on electoral reforms. The objective of the electoral reforms is to review the legislative, administrative, and policy framework for elections, and identify areas that will require legal amendments and those that may require policy or procedural changes. Sittings for Lusaka will be held at the Mulungushi International Conference Center from Monday 4th to Friday 18th November 2024. Honorable members wishing to make submissions are encouraged to do so on voluntary basis. I thank you. The second announcement, honorable members, I wish to inform the House that approval has been granted for the Catholic Church to hold Mass for the Catholic members of Parliament and staff on Wednesday, 6th November 2024 in the amphitheater here at Parliament buildings. Honorable members may wish to know that attendance is not restricted to members of the Catholic Church. In this regard, all honorable members and staff are encouraged to attend this event, which will take place from 12:30 hours to 13:50 hours. I thank you. It's on a voluntary basis. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Rusangu Secondary School in Monze District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seat. The last announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Handmaid's Convent Girls' School in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seat. Order, honorable members. I have a ruling to render on a point of order that was raised on Tuesday, 15th October 2024 by Dr. C. Andeleki, Member of Parliament for Katombola constituency, on the status of Mr. J. E. Banda, Member of Parliament for Petauke Central constituency, following his absence from the House after his disappearance from Chipata Central Hospital, and on the status of Mr. R.K.H. Totela, Member of Parliament for Pambashi constituency, following his conviction, and Mr. N. Chilangwa, Member of Parliament for Kawamba constituency, following his sentencing. Honorable members, the House will recall that on Tuesday, 15th October 2024, when the House was considering question for oral answer number 31, and Honorable C. Mulenga MP, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, had just finished responding to a follow-up question by Mr. A.C. Mumba, Member of Parliament for Katanshi constituency. Dr. C. Andeleki, Member of Parliament for Katombola constituency, raised a point of order. The point of order was premised on Article 72, number 2, B and C of the Constitution of Zambia, Chapter 1 of the Laws of Zambia, which provides for the vacation of office as a Member of Parliament where a member is serving a sentence of imprisonment or acts contrary to a prescribed conduct of code of conduct. In his point of order, Dr. C. Andeleki MP explained that Mr. J. E. Banda, Member of Parliament for Petauke Central disappeared in Central Hospital on Thursday, 20th June 2024, following his charge for aggravated robbery and attempted murder. In this regard, Dr. C. Andeleki MP inquired whether Mr. J. E. Banda MP was still a Member of Parliament within the definition of Section 2 of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges. The Honorable Member for Nakonde, you are distracting me. Can you please lower your voice? I'm giving a ruling. Dr. C. Andeleki MP inquired whether Mr. J. E. Banda MP was still a Member of Parliament within the definition of Section 2 of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, Chapter 12 of the Laws of Zambia, given that he has not appeared in the House since 20th June 2024. Additionally, Dr. C. Andeleki MP stated that Mr. R.K.H. Totela, Member of Parliament for Pambashi constituency, had not appeared in the House since his conviction on Monday, 22nd July 2024. Further, Mr. N. Chilangwe, Member of Parliament for Kawamba constituency, had also appeared in the House following his sentencing on the same day. He therefore inquired whether Mr. R.K.H. Totela MP and Mr. N. Chilangwa MP were still Members of Parliament within the definition of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act. In my immediate response, I reserved my ruling to enable me to start the matter and deliver a measured ruling. I have since studied the matter and will now render my ruling. Honorable members, I will first address the status of Mr. J. E. Banda MP. Thereafter, I will proceed to address the status of Mr. R.K.H. Totela MP and Mr. N. Chilangwa MP. Number one, the status of Mr. J. E. Banda MP. Honorable members, I wish to begin by giving a background to what gave rise to Dr. Andeleki MP's point of order. On Thursday, 20th June 2024, the Zambia Police Services informed the general public of the formal arrest of Mr. J. E. Banda, MP, Mr. J.E. Banda MP was formally charged and arrested on 2 charges, being aggravated robbery and attempted murder, and was subsequently transferred to Chipata in the Eastern Province. On Monday, 5th August 2024, the nation was informed by the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security of Mr. J.E. Banda MP's escape from lawful custody while receiving medical attention at the Chipata General Hospital. Honorable members, Article 77(1) of the Constitution confers on the National Assembly the power to regulate its own procedure and make standing orders for the conduct of its business. In this vein, Standing Order 2231 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders for 2024 on a member's failure to attend sittings provides that number 2231, if during a session a member is absent from 4 or more consecutive sittings of the Assembly without permission in writing from the Government Chief Whip or the Speaker, the matter shall stand referred to the Committee on Privileges and Absences for hearing and determination. Honorable members, it is evident that following Mr. J.E. Banda MP's arrest and detention, the reason for the member's absence from the House was known. However, from the date of his escape from lawful custody, there is no valid reason for his continued absence from the House. In that regard, based on Standing Order number 223 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders for 2024, the matter stands referred to the Committee on Privileges and Absences for determination. The committee shall make appropriate recommendations to the House by Friday, 15th November 2024. The status of Mr. R.K. Totera MP and Mr. N. Chirangwa MP. Honorable members, the background to this matter is that on Monday, 22nd July 2024, the subordinate court of the first class for the Kawambwa district, presided over by Honorable Martin Namushi, delivered judgment in the matter of the people versus Ronald Kaomachitotera, Nixon Chirangwa, and 6 other, cause number 1/124/SG/2021. In their judgment, the court found Mr. N. Chirangwa MP guilty of malicious damage to property, contrary to Section 335 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, and sentenced him to 5 years imprisonment with hard labor. The court further found Mr. R.K. Totera MP guilty of arson and committed him to the High Court for sentencing. It is against this background that Dr. C. Anderek MP raised the point of order. Honorable members, Standing Order number 143, the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders for 2024 on the admissibility of points of order provides that a member shall not reopen a point of order which has already been decided. Honorable members, on Wednesday, 24th July 2024, Mr. M. Anakoka, Member of Parliament for Luena constituency, raised a point of order concerning the status of Mr. R.K. Totera MP and Mr. N. Chirangwa MP after their conviction and sentencing, respectively. A ruling on the effect of the judgment of the subordinate court and the status of the 2 members was delivered on the floor of this House by Honorable Madam Speaker on Wednesday, 24th July 2024. Honorable members, as highlighted above, Standing Order number 143 prohibits a member from reopening a point of order which has already been decided. A ruling on the status of Mr. R.K. Totera MP and Mr. N. Chilangwa MP was already delivered by Madam Speaker. I therefore hold that the point of order by Dr. C. Andeleke MP on the status of Mr. R.K. Totera MP and Mr. Chilangwa MP is not admissible, as it seeks to reopen a matter that was already decided upon. I thank you. We make progress. Urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member for Katombola. Honorable members.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for according the people of Katombola an opportunity to raise an urgent matter without notice, directed as Her Honor the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, the right Madam Narumango. The people of Katombola are asking that there is a growing trend of by-elections. Each by-election that comes, UPND wins. Each by-election that comes, UPND wins. North, South, West, East. Madam Vice President, the people of Katombola are asking to say, what is the secret? I thank you, Madam Vice President.
Honorable members, I think that one requires another platform. Honorable Member for Katombola. Order. The Honorable Member for Nkana. Order. So that matter, Honorable Member for Katombola, is not admissible. You can ask Her Honor the Vice President on Friday. I'm sure she can give you a good answer. The Honorable Member for Shangombo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the matter without notice is directed to the Minister of Tourism, and I'm happy that he's here today. And I'm welcoming him. However, Madam Speaker, we have good programs for cash for work in our constituencies where dams for our domestic animals are being done. But unfortunately, for the past 1 week, even today as I'm speaking, elephants are going in villages, drinking water from these dams, and thereafter covering the dams with sand and trees. And people, even early this morning when they were going, they found the same elephants. People are living in fear, and we've already lost lives enough in Shangombo because of elephants. What is the Minister of Tourism doing to ensure that Zawa move into Shangombo and drive all those elephants from Shangombo to either Sioma and the Kafue National Park, where I've seen that, Madam Speaker, there is too much encroachment in Kafue National Park, going towards the Kafue Oku Bridge. And we have Zawa, and the Minister is here. Why is he allowing people to go into the National Park of Kafue and then the elephants go into Shangombo to go and kill our people? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
This matter is important, but does not qualify under urgent matter without notice. The Honorable Member for Shangombo, you can please find another platform to bring this matter to the attention of the Minister. And moreover, this is an odd case. We've dealt with this matter for a long time. The Minister for Tourism has been on the floor a number of times just talking about the animal-human conflict. So the Honorable Member for Shangombo, please find another avenue where you can bring the matter to the attention of the Tourism Minister. The Honorable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise on a very important matter without notice regarding health. Madam Speaker, this question is directed to the executive, meaning it's directed to the leader of business, her owner, Mrs. W.K. Nalumango. Madam Speaker, this country domesticated the UHC, that's Universal Health Coverage, in 2018, that every Zambian should be able to access primary health care without, being obstructed. Madam Speaker, the question I'm having to the executive is, why is it that the medication for people who have mental health is so expensive and is not accessible in government hospitals, including private hospitals? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah.
I'm sure the prices of those mental drugs, they haven't just been increased the past 2 days or so. Because we are looking at matters that happened the previous few number of hours, 24 hours. So the honorable member for Chiengi, I'm sure you can find another avenue to bring this matter to the House so that the Minister of Health can attend to it. But the way you brought it out, it does not qualify as an urgent matter without notice. We make progress. Questions for oral answer, understanding order number 82. The honorable member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Question number 93.
The honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Anthony Mumbai asked the following two questions. A, why over 1 billion in non-tax revenues had not been remitted to the Treasury as of June 2024? And B, what urgent measures are being taken to ensure that the revenue is recovered by the Treasury? Under A, let me begin by stating that over 1 billion kwacha due in non-tax revenues had not been collected by Energy Regulation Board, ERB, and Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. We've established that a total of 617.9 million kwacha owed to ERB and a total of 442.6 million kwacha owed to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, bring the total uncollected revenues to 1 billion 60 million 486,591 kwacha 83 ngwe. Madam, the 617.9 million kwacha payable to ERB relates to license fees owed by ZESCO. This is attributed to liquidity challenges being faced by ZESCO as a result of significant reduction in revenues arising from a decline in electricity generation. Madam Speaker, the 442.6 million kwacha owed to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources relates to amounts owed by those that have been offered land in concession fees under the National Land Titling Program and property owners who have not paid their ground rent. You may wish to note that consideration fees are client-driven in that once the invitation to treat has been issued, the burden is on the offeree to make payments within the stipulated time frame. Madam Speaker, regarding the measures that the Treasury is taking to ensure that the revenue is recovered, the House may wish to note that out of the 617 million unpaid license attributed to ZESCO, 4.4 million was paid, leaving a balance of 613 million as at 4th November 2024. To ensure that the money is recovered, a time-to-pay agreement has been entered into between ZESCO and the ERB to liquidate the balance of 613 million in 6 monthly installments, which started in October 2024 and will end in March 2025. Madam Speaker, further, to ensure that the fees amounting to 443 million relating to national land titling and ground rent under the Ministry of Lands are recovered, the following is being done. 1, intensify sensitization. 2, targeting high-value properties. 3, bill distribution. 4, collection of ground rent owed by the councils. And 5, community engagement and distribution of titles. And last, and 6, review of the Lands Act. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mukushi South, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My point of order is on 71, content of speech. B. A member shall ensure that the information he or she provides to the House is factual and verifiable. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member for Katombola, there is a question that UPND is winning elections, and yet he knows that because democracy is under siege by this bad government, UPND, PF has never participated in any by-elections. Is the Honorable Member for Katombola in order, Madam Speaker, to start insinuating that they are winning by-elections when they have no competitors? I seek your serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
Order. The Honorable Member for Katombola was bringing forth a matter, urgent matter without notice. He brought the matter and it was not admissible. So I don't know why we should go on with the same matter that has been not admitted. So it's clearly not admitted. We make progress. Honorable members, we are now looking at supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, thank you so much. Mine is a concern. Honorable Minister of Finance, all of us in here do support you, especially when it comes to the budget and its implementation. But you have mentioned to us that ZESCO, due to liquidity challenges, has now entered a payment plan which will finish on the 30th of March. To what extent will this non-availability of this amount of money affect some of your immediate cash outflows, particularly relating to social programs, like social cash for work, social cash transfer? Because as you know, if this money is not available, it will in one way or the other affect the implementation of your 2024 budget. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and Honorable Mumba. It is indeed true that it is always regrettable when a particular revenue line is not able to perform for the reasons that you have indicated. However, we must also recognize that the revenue estimates that we bring to this House are just what they are, estimates, and sometimes they perform, sometimes they underperform, sometimes one particular line underperforms, sometimes underperform. So the management is always about ensuring that the lines that underperform, one way or another, they are covered for by lines that overperform. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Mufulira.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, part of the money that has not been collected by the Treasury have attributed it to the consideration fees under the land titling program. The reality on the ground, Honorable Minister, is that the consideration fees required to be paid, be it low cost or high cost or medium cost, is beyond the reach of the majority of those that really want titles, but the fees being charged is beyond their reach. They simply cannot afford. And if there is no revision, that amount will remain outstanding. Among the measures being taken, I have not heard you mention that you are also considering revising the fees, because that really is the solution. To insist on the low cost especially, to pay 1,300 and beyond to get the title, it is simply pushing something that is very hard on them. Why isn't the ministry addressing the main issue, which is that the fees are beyond the reach of the majority of those that are entitled to benefit from this well-intended program, except the fees that are hindering the progress? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Mwila. I think the reasons for the failure to collect is partly indeed the technology that has been mentioned. There could be some justification in what you are saying, but remember, people are getting these plots to build houses. If you build a house, or if the intention was to build a house, how would you fail to pay 1,300 kwacha? And your intention is to build a house. What about when it comes to constructing the house itself? That becomes a problem. I also want to say that I think there's sometimes an error of expectation in this country that you can have a home but be not concerned about everything else until the house is constructed. But a home is beyond just a house. A home is also about the amenities that you expect the government to deliver to the home. You expect that when you build a house, there will be a road to the home. There will be water, there will be electricity, there will be public amenities. But these don't come from anywhere. Each one of us who ends up ending a home, we must contribute to that pool of money which becomes available to all of us in terms of public revenues, so that those amenities that we seek to have at our homes can be financed. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Lufugo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, maybe for more clarity. Was it procedural? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Madam Speaker, I did not get the question, and my neighbors here also didn't get it. Can you repeat?
Though the question was very short, he just said, was it procedural? I don't know whether you want him to explain. The Honorable Member for Lufu.
Yes, Madam Speaker. The question was it done the right way?
What was done the right way? What was not done the right way or done the right way?
The utilization of the funds.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
I don't fully understand, but the answer is yes, it was procedural.
The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you once more, Madam Speaker. And Honourable Minister, thank you for your response. My concern, Honourable Minister of Finance, is that these reports of revenues not being collected are becoming concerning. The other day we again received a report that revenues are not being collected under the mining sector. I think that report again came from the Ministry of Finance. So could you give us comfort that your 2024 budget will perform in accordance to the best possible output as it was meant to unlock our economy? Of course, I know we had the drought along the way, but these revenues reports of not being collected are becoming concerning. Could you just give us that assurance? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I explained, the issue of a revenue line not performing, that is something that is not new, because it is always the case that some lines overperform, others just perform, others underperform, and that's the way it goes. As for 2024, I'm confident that we'll be very close to the revenue targets that we have set. Of course, the situation is tight because of the drought. As you know, the drought does not just affect agriculture, it also affects the economy at large. For example, if a retailer was stocking beef in their shop and you are not sure about availability of power, people tend to reduce on perishables, for example, and that ultimately affects the economy. But beyond that, I think we've done very well. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'll take the last two, the Honorable Member for Lunte and the Honorable Member for Lubasenshi. The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, I'm alarmed by your confirmation that money that does not end up in the Treasury is properly utilized in a country which implements a single Treasury account. Honorable Minister, the rental income from seized properties, which is reported being collected by law enforcement officers, even via mobile money, is it part of the 1 billion that you have considered to have not reached your treasury, or that is another part which, if added to that, will bring about alarming information? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Madam Speaker, I did explain earlier on that these are failures of people to pay ground rent through the Ministry of Lands. So that is where the shortfall that we are talking about comes from. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Luwasenchi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My follow-up question to the Minister of Finance is to try and find out on the mobile transaction where it has been reported that even Bank of Zambia doesn't have books to know how much is being collected. Now, can you confirm that your government is doing something to ensure that what we have lost as a country in collecting monies from charges being charged on the mobile transaction money will be rectified and subsequently will add value, especially to 2025 national budget? I submit.
The National Minister, the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Madam Speaker, I think we're talking about the collection from land, and at no time did I refer to Bank of Zambia and mobile money. So I don't think I can answer that question because that's not the topic that we've been discussing for now. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, I have one more announcement to make. I wish to recognize the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of the following staff from the Parliament of Uganda. Mr. Angora James, Principal Legal Counsel and Leader of the Delegation. Mrs. Kingonya Josephine, Senior Nursing Officer. Ms. Timungibwe Sarah, Assistant Front Desk Officer. Ms. Abuo Angela Aropet, Assistant Front Desk Officer. Mr. Muhindo Bernard, Front Desk Officer. Ms. Adong Alice, Office Supervisor. Mr. Buyakutangi Simon, Front Desk Officer. Mr. Akogoti Dina Evelyn, Front Desk Officer. Mr. Mumbaza Eliot, Nursing Officer. Mr. Rupin Eric, Front Desk Officer. And Mr. Egua Ojako Gabriel, Assistant Doorkeeper. I wish on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia to receive our guests and warmly welcome them in our midst. I thank you. We move to the next question. The Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Question number 94.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Mr. Lucas Simomba, Member of Parliament for Nakonde, Parliamentary constituency, asked government why some farmers in Nakonde district who supplied maize to the FIA during the 2024 crop marketing season have not yet been paid, and on B, what urgent measures are being taken to expedite payment to the affected farmers to enable them prepare for the 2024-25 farming season. Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. The Food Reserve Agency, as at 31st October 2024, had purchased a total of 34,493.4 metric tons of non-GMO white maize in Nakonde district from our small-scale farmers, valued at 227.65 million. Out of which, Madam Speaker, 180.71 million has since been paid, representing 79% payment performance, leaving a balance of 46.94 million. Further, Madam Speaker, the government
through FRA had during the same period purchased from small-scale farmers a total of 475,000 metric tons valued at 3.13 billion, of which 2.61 billion has been paid, representing 83% performance countrywide, and leaving a balance of 521.93 million owed to the small-scale farmers. The government is aware of the delay to pay farmers in Nakonde district and indeed in other parts of the country that are yet to be paid, as government has been mobilizing resources to pay them. On B, Madam Speaker, the government is mobilizing funds and has been paying the farmers from time to time, and will endeavor to ensure the farmers are paid the balance due as soon as possible in order for them to prepare for the 2024-25 marketing season. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this issue of not paying farmers is not only in Nakonde. I can confirm here that almost all the constituencies that supplied maize. Madam Speaker, the Minister has stated that the government is mobilizing funds. I wanted to find out if these funds are under the 2024 budget allocation or not. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, in the 2024 national budget, this Parliament approved a total of 1.7 billion to the Food Reserve Agency for purchase and maintenance of National Strategic Reserve. With this amount allocated, the agency could only purchase 545,000 metric tons at the current buying price of 6,600 kwacha per metric ton, without taking into account attendant costs. The agency, Madam Speaker, has so far purchased, instead of the 254, it has purchased 593,000 metric tons at a total cost of 4.2 billion, whereas here, we as members of Parliament apportioned 1.7 billion. This, Madam Speaker, gives a financing gap of 2.5 billion, which is being financed from local sales of the meal and the community sales and other sources. The rate of inflows from the sales, of course, has an impact on how quickly we can pay the farmers. I will add a bonus response, Madam Speaker, to the Honorable Member for Nakonde. I was just briefed that I think yesterday or before yesterday, 37 million has been allocated to Nakonde, just like it is being allocated to other areas. So if you look at that time, it means that there's only a very small balance waiting to be given. So money is continuously being found by our able, Minister of Finance and National Planning, which we are using to pay all the farmers countrywide. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Minister, since you have failed to pay the farmers in Nakonde, are they allowed to go and collect their maize so that they can sell from Tanzania? Madam Speaker, I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, I think it is not right for the Honorable Member to say we have failed. I have just demonstrated that yesterday 37 million was released to Nakonde farmers, and not because of your question, Honorable Member, through the Speaker, but because as we get money, we are apportioning it to the many farmers that we owe. So we are a government that pays farmers. we will pay all these farmers. Madam Speaker, we will not cross without paying these farmers into the next season, as it used to happen. I thank you.
The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, not every farmer is on the government-supported deficit, and this entails that farmers have to be paid for the maize they supply to FRA for them to buy farming inputs. Looking at the period now, farmers have started preparing their fields in readiness for planting. And today is November 5th. The government has not yet paid the farmers for the maize they supply to FRA. Madam Speaker, when the government opened the season for buying maize from farmers, there was a police pronouncement that farmers would take the maize to FRA. After a few days, they get paid for the maize they supply. Madam Speaker, this issue is not only happening in Nakonde. Almost the entire country, farmers who supplied maize to FRA have not been paid. Honorable Minister, with this happening in the agriculture sector today, are you sure of diversifying the economy from mining into agriculture, where you are failing to pay the farmers on time? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member from Pika, please avoid pointing at the Minister. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it might be important for me to put context to this, because the way the debate is going indicates as if this is the first time that farmers have had a delay in being paid. Let me give some position, Madam Speaker. In 2018, Madam Speaker.
Order, Honorable Members. Order.
Thank you.
Order, the Honorable Members on my left. Can we listen to the response from a Minister?
Madam Speaker, in 2018, the PF government failed to pay the farmers that year and only completed paying them in April the following year. In 2019, Madam Speaker, the same government failed to pay the farmers for only 86,000 metric tons, failed to pay the farmers, and by the way, the price then was 110, the previous year it was 70 kwacha, failed to pay for that price. From 2019 up to the following year in February. In 2020, Madam Speaker, at the same price of 110, the PF government failed to pay the farmers up to the end of December, Madam Speaker. Now, here is a government, Madam Speaker, that took over in 2021, found a huge debt of 1.8 billion and paid on the behalf of the PF government. In 2022, Madam Speaker, finished paying, completed paying the farmers by November. In 2023, Madam Speaker, was on queue, paid within the same year. So why would you doubt this working government? We are going to pay the farmers within this year. Yes, I have explained, Madam Speaker, that out of the budget which we thought we would have, we had so much money. We have bought twice the amount. There will be some few delays, but we will pay the farmers. Let honorable members be assured, and it is nice to see the concern from the honorable members that we have delayed paying. That's the way it's supposed to be, because we are together in developing this country. Madam Speaker, may the honorable members feel at home and be at calm that we will pay the farmers. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving a chance to the people of Lundazi to make a follow-up question to the Minister of Agriculture who has failed to finish paying farmers on time, and they have even been removed from benefiting from FISIP. What a sad story. Honorable Minister of Agriculture, in case you don't know, people are tired of the UPND government blaming PF for their failure. You may need to read and try to understand how people get irritated the moment you just mention PF to be the cause of your failure.
The honorable member.
The question that I have for you,
The
Honorable Minister of Agriculture, is this. The people of Lundazi are concerned, just as the people in Nakonde. Honorable Minister, do you prefer to pay 660 kwacha per bag of maize coming from Tanzania than you paying the local farmers who are giving you the maize at 330 kwacha? I submit.
Before the honorable minister, all the honorable members on my left, order. There is an indication for a point of order.
Where are you going? Sit down. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker,
Order, the honorable member for Lundazi, you don't have to announce that you are going to attend to the core of nature. Just move out, honorable member. Order. Honorable members.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Order, honorable members on my left.
Madam Speaker, I was seated
Like
here.
the honorable member for Mukushi, you are supposed to be seated in your seat. Order. There is an indication for a point of order. The honorable member for Sikongo, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I was seated here quietly listening to the deliberations in the House. I'm rising on standing order number 71, factualness of what we present on the floor of the House. The honorable member of Lundazi constituency, Honorable Brenda Nyirenda, is saying that the people of this country are tired of listening to UPNG blaming the PF. Now, the question that I have is, what I know is that the people of Congo are so much happy when we talk about PF. Standing order number 71, factualness of what you present on the floor of the House. That's not a fact. Is she in order, Madam Speaker, to insinuate that the people of Zambia at large are not happy when we talk about the PF's atrocities? The people of Congo are very happy. Is she in order, Madam Speaker? I seek your serious ruling.
Order. Of course, the honorable member for Lundazi was out of order because she can't quantify or maybe state the numbers of people that are not happy and people that are happy. So the honorable member for Lundazi was out of order. We make progress. The honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the House and the country might wish to know that the Food Reserve Agency has graciously extended the period of procurement of maize. What this means, therefore, Madam Speaker, is that we are receiving maize which we are going to pay for. Therefore, we can have pockets of unpaid farmers here and there. But let me make one issue clear, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the question from the honorable member for Nakonde was very clear. You haven't paid farmers, why? And I answered why we haven't paid. And I even gave the honorable member more comfort that 37 million was released to Nakonde, which will leave a very small balance for Nakonde. But if I'm going to get, Madam Speaker, innuendo indicating that the government is failing to pay, it is only normal that I will react accordingly and give the country a true picture. And that is why I went giving the history as to how the previous government was failing to pay and how we are managing to pay. I thought I should make that clear. So to the honorable member who has come back into the House, no, I wouldn't want to mention that, she's my sister. We are still buying maize, and people in the country are exceptionally happy that we have extended the period so that those who have maize can supply, and they should be sure that we will pay them. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I'll get the last three. The honorable member for Nkana, Lukasha, and Kasama, in that order.
Madam Speaker, I must confess that I come from a mining constituency, but I listen very attentively when this matter of agriculture is being discussed. Each time, Madam Speaker, I get confused. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture since 2021 has been talking about a debt that was left by PF.
The honorable member from Nkana, please, there is a question.
Yes,
I
Madam
know
Speaker.
you've been listening to
Yes,
so
Madam
many
Speaker.
things about agriculture.
It's
Can
important.
we be focused to the question on the floor?
Madam Speaker,
You may
it's very
continue.
important because you remember even last time, I asked the same question. The former Minister of Agriculture had challenged the Minister of Agriculture that when his counterpart was leaving, they never left a debt. He keeps referring to that
What
debt.
is the question?
My question, Madam Speaker, is this. Honorable Minister of Agriculture, by now we should have understood the cycle of maize, what exactly is needed, and subsequently how much we should budget for our maize needs. The budget appropriated below 2 million, meaning that that is what we needed. Here you give a statement suggesting that you have bought in excess of 2.5 billion. That is unplanned for purchases. How is it that you would plan to purchase less than 2 billion worth of maize and only to buy over 2.5 billion, which is in excess? Meaning that is the reason why farmers have not been paid, because you have gone to purchase what was not, budgeted for. How is that anomaly possible? Madam Speaker, thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I greatly appreciate that very, very useful question from the honorable member from Nkana. The reason why we have this, Madam Speaker, is because we suffered a drought, and the projections that we had were that we would have very little crop in the country. Therefore, we had projected to buy up to about 350,000 metric tons. And because of the drought, we went into thought of importing maize so that Zambians, Madam Speaker, cannot suffer from hunger. As it might be, Muchinga and Luapula, all provinces which border other countries that produced very well because they had good rains, had significant quantities of maize coming into the country. It was therefore incumbent upon us to react positively and procure that maize as much as we can, because it is cheaper. You will recall the point which the honorable member from Lundazi raised. She was comparing the price of the maize locally, and which is bought locally, and the price of the maize which is bought when imported. The prices are quite far apart. The local maize is cheap. Therefore, we opened up the markets, as many markets as we could, Madam Speaker, so that we can buy as much maize as possible to ensure that our citizens have sufficient maize. Whether that maize was produced in Zambia or not, but as long as we're buying it at our depots, we were happy because we're buying at our price of 330 kwacha per bag. And I'm very proud and happy to indicate that we have now over 450,000 tons of that maize safely in our stores for any Zambian who can, that we should feed our people. So instead of lamenting, in the spirit of development, we should be extremely happy with that, what the Food Reserve Agency has achieved. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Lukasha.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, for also giving me the opportunity to ask the Minister a follow-up question. Madam Speaker, I won't belabor the point that Honorable Chansa has mentioned, but just to state, Madam Speaker, for the record, when PF was leaving government, there were no arrears that were owed to farmers, like explained by Honorable Katambo on the floor of the House. The question, Mr. Honorable Minister, is there are farmers who haven't been paid, even in Lukasha constituency, but right now they're struggling to access FISIP. And some of the requirements they're being asked to produce is a receipt for the supply they made to FRA, and they also are supposed to pay a 450 kwacha each for them to access FISIP. These are struggling farmers, Honorable Minister, who can't raise the 450 kwacha to access FISIP under the current season. How is government treating these farmers to allow them to access their FISIP without paying 450? Thank you, Honorable.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Food Reserve Agency is a government institution. Anybody is free to go there and access information. Why would honorable members, including the learned counsel, come to suffer here instead of just going to the Food Reserve Agency to go and look at the records? There is information which shows that there was amount of money that was outstanding. Just go to the agency instead of us banding words here. Go to the agency. Madam Speaker, now coming to the question which the Council raised, the Honorable raised. Madam Speaker, we have discussed this over and over again, and we have said, right now, there is regulation.
Order, Honorable Minister. The Honorable Member for Chipiri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Standing order number 71. Yes. Madam Speaker, Honorable Minister, when you took over from UPF in 2021, you have been saying they failed to pay the farmers. That's why you did what you did with what you found in those storage. Now, you know that farmers supply maize from June, July, August. By then, the cabinet was dissolved. National Assembly was dissolved by constitution. Who was supposed to pay the man that you are paying? Thank you, Madam.
The Honorable Member for Chipiri. In fact, for the sake of the people that are listening, you should have in fact waited until the Minister finished his response. Because this point of order that you brought, the Minister didn't mention it immediately in his response. And moreover, the Honorable Member for Chipiri, you debated, you gave us the scenario, and then you even made a recommendation. So what is there for me to do? There is nothing. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture, please, you may continue. You were disturbed. I know you were responding to a question. That is the problem when you are cut the minister of...
I was indicating to the Honorable Member for Lukasha, Madam Speaker, that there is law which is coming into place where we are now going to have warehouse receipt system so that a farmer who gives maize and is given a receipt, whether paid or not, can use that receipt as funds. This is happening. Now, your question is current. Madam Speaker, I would not like to bandy words with the Honorable Member, but if there is such a farmer who has failed to pay 400 kwacha, I would sit with the Honorable Member so that he gives me that farmer. We see how we can handle them. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kasama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the people of Kasama are not, the farmers of Kasama are not exempt from non-payment. Unfortunately, your response has been very open-ended because issues of money always require timelines. My question, Madam Speaker, is that, Honorable Minister, can you provide assurance on how the ministry plans to prevent similar delays in the future, considering the financial strain these holdups place on our farmers who rely on timely payments for their livelihood and to prepare for the upcoming farming season? Currently, the northern block is starting to receive rain, but without money, it will be a bit difficult. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Before the minister comes in, the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Most appreciated, Madam Speaker. I reluctant to raise this important point of order. Just want to Standing Order 71. Madam Speaker, these honorable ministers in the front bench have got the responsibility to be answerable for all the portfolio functions that fall under their ministry. Here, we have been getting consistencies from the minister regarding FRA, who has been running adverts that farmers to supply maize and they will be paid cash, from those that are doing winter maize and now the farmers. Was it in order, Madam Speaker, to respond to an honorable member here who was making a follow-up question that he should be going from here to FRA to get information, when the minister's responsibility here is to speak on behalf of FRA and all the portfolio functions under the Ministry of Agriculture? Was it in order, Madam Speaker, to refer a member to his department, which is supposed to be speaking for in this August House? If he starts, Madam Speaker, I think there are capable backbenchers there who can help him run that ministry. I can see vibrant backbenchers there. But is in order, Madam Speaker, to abdicate his duty and assign ministers to be finding information on his behalf? I seek your serious ruling.
The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, I get your point of order. But my guide, this is a big problem that we are trying to get response from the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. Let's not fight. Can we try to work together so that the Honorable Minister, who is in charge of the ministry, can respond accordingly? If you are not happy with the response from the minister, honorable members, I'm sure the Honorable Minister can attend to you either at his office or anywhere else, even as you are having tea break. Honorable members, can we work as a team? The rains have just started, or they are about to start. We want our farmers to be helped so that we can have more food produced by the farmers. Now, if we are not agreeing amongst ourselves here in this house, it won't help our farmers. Can we work as a team so that the farmers will be helped as soon as possible? That is my guide and my earnest appeal to the honorable members seated in this House, together with the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. It won't help us if we continue arguing when we know what the problem is. We need to find a solution to that problem, which is before us as leaders of our respective people in our constituencies. That is my guide. This question is very important, or was very important. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I came with information in this House on paper, indicating clearly, Madam Speaker, that there was a debt. And if the members feel that that debt, the information I brought is not correct, I have said FRA is a public institution. I'm not asking you to be going and getting answers. I come with answers. But if you reject my answers for your own need, then I'll ask you to go to that institution. So you left a debt. You left a debt, and we cleared it. So I have told you, and if you refuse, go to FRA and check. Now let me answer the question. I came with figures here. I cannot stand here and lie. I will come and give information, proper information.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Yes, ma'am.
You are responding through me, not directly to the members.
Madam Speaker, through you, I came with the documentation from FRA here, which indicated that there was a debt left, and I supplied the information. If the honorable members choose to reject that information, I am saying, Madam Speaker, openly, they are free to go to the FRA to check. Isn't that the way we are supposed to work, Madam Speaker? That's the way we should work. So no one should come here and insinuate through you, Madam Speaker, that there is work which we are not doing. No, we are doing it correctly. And this is directed to the honorable member of Shiwangandu, Honorable Kampiongo.
The honorable
now I want to answer the madam from Kasama. Through you, Madam Speaker. Through you, Madam Speaker. The maize was sold to pay the debt they left, Madam Speaker. And we did it effectively.
You may attend to the question by the honorable member for Kasama.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Speaker, the honorable member for Kasama asks and is guiding to say, in future, can we try to avoid this? I think I explained in my answer, Madam Speaker, that the reason we had this huge shortfall of funds is because we planned only to buy 350,000 metric tons. As we are talking now, we have bought in excess of 470,000 metric tons. We need to find the money to pay the difference, and that is why we are delaying a bit. But the assurance is that we will pay the farmers before the season closes. As at now, we are at more than 85% payment to all the farmers in the country, Madam Speaker. Therefore, the small 15% will be taken care of. I thank you.
Thank you. The honorable member for Chilubi.
Madam Speaker, I rise on a very compelling point of order. The minister has put on record, Parliament record, that there was a debt, which we have all agreed. Indeed, there was a debt. The minister knows that in August, the moisture content is supposed to be around 12.5 to the max 13%. Madam Speaker, it will be wrong for government to adopt the record that he has put when the minister knows that when the moisture content is not good enough, you can buy maize. It is the same time that the elections were taking place. And there was another government that came in, then he has called it a PF debt. Is that the right record, Madam Speaker, that we should keep in Parliament? Because government is a going concern, then he calls it a PF debt. is that the right picture that we want to portray to this nation? When he knows moisture content was not before, when we were on 12th August, the moisture content was not 12.5. Is in order to call that PF debt or government debt?
Can you cite the standing order?
Standing order number 71, Madam Speaker, about speaking the right thing.
The honorable member for Chiruvi, we have even gone away from the question on the floor. You are now bringing issues of the moisture content. How does that come in? In the question that was raised by the honorable member for Nakonde, who was just simply asking when FRA is going to pay the farmers. Now we bring in issues of moisture content, which some of us we don't know. I'm so reluctant to admit that point of order. We make progress. Next question, the honorable member for Chembe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, to give the people of Chembe to ask a question. Question number 95.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for this question. But before this, Madam Speaker, let me ask the House to join me in celebrating the UPND's victory in Lukanga Ward. The UPND, Madam Speaker, got 57% of the vote, and this was a huge endorsement of the good leadership of His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Let me also inform my good friends who were asking me what was happening in Kabwe, that's Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya and my good friend Shwangandu, that indeed your Honorable's campaign was good. We are missing you on the ground. Mukushi MP said the PF was not participating, but our wish is that the issues are resolved quickly so that we start meeting on the ground. It's good for democracy. We wish you well. Madam Speaker, and I'm sure the Honorable Vice President is a very happy woman today. Madam, we won. Thank you, Madam. Honorable Mpundu asked the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation whether a government is aware that for the past 1 month there has been a critical shortage of water in Chembe Parliamentary constituency, and if so, what urgent measures are being taken to resolve the water crisis and prevent waterborne diseases. Madam Speaker, in response to the question asked by Honorable Mpundu, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chembe constituency, I wish to inform the House that government is indeed aware of the ongoing water shortages in Wapula ward of Chembe constituency, which has persisted over the past 1 month. You may wish to note that water in Chembe is supplied through a 20,000-litre water scheme managed by Chembe Town Council. This system relies on boreholes that pump water to elevated storage tanks. The main causes of the current water supply challenges in Chembe are due to water tables leading to boreholes in higher areas drying up. Additionally, the drought and the national energy shortage have also reduced the hours of power supply, thereby limiting the local authorities' ability to maintain consistent water production from the boreholes. Madam Speaker, the Ministry through Wapula Water Supply and Sanitation Company Limited now provides daily water delivery through bowsers to distribution tanks, ensuring clean and safe drinking water is available until a long-term solution is in place. Further, the local authority is taking measures to switch the 20,000-litre water scheme to solar energy. The Council approved the procurement of a solar-powered pump during its meeting on 23 September 2024 for this very purpose. Additionally, government through the ministry is upgrading 4 existing boreholes into solar-powered water schemes, each with a capacity of 10,000 liters and a 2-kilometer water network targeting approximately 6,000 people. To date, one of these boreholes has been completed and handed over to the community. The ministry has also financed the drilling of 10 new boreholes, 8 of which have been completed and handed over to respective communities. The remaining 2 boreholes will be constructed before December 2024. With these interventions, the water shortage in Chembe constituency will be resolved, thus helping to prevent potential waterborne diseases. Madam Speaker, just to add that the ministry is currently undertaken feasibility studies to ensure that the long-term solution to the water challenges in Chembe are found. And to this end, a budget of about 170 million kwacha will be put in the next budget. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Chembe.
Thank you very much, and thank you for those mitigation measures that the ministry has put in place. Honorable Minister, the people of Chembe want to find the timeline, especially to do with a mini water plant. Chembe doesn't require a dam. It already has water. All what it needs is treating that water and supply to the people. What is the timeline in terms of having a mini water treatment plant in Chembe? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you very much for that very, very important question. Just to inform the Honorable Member of Parliament that supply of water is not only, the duty to supply water to our people is not only through the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation, but basically also through the local authorities. And additionally, actually, local authorities also have a share in all the water utilities in the company. So we are working very, very closely with the Ministry of Local Government through the Council. And as I reported in my submission, that the local authority is already in a procurement, they've started the procurement process to ensure that they supply more water to our people. But the ministry itself have reported that already 8 boreholes out of the 10 we earmarked for Chembe have been completed, and will quicken the completion of the 2. Remember also I said that the last borehole will be done by December. The good news, Honorable Member of Parliament, also is that I think we've received a donation of about 300 commercial boreholes, and looking at the dire need in Chembe, I think we should be able to allocate 1 commercial borehole more into Chembe. This we can discuss in the office. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Madam, thank you. Honorable Minister, as you began to tender your response, you first spoke about UPND victory, or UPND's victory in Kawe. I can assure you, you are speaking loud, you are happy, and you were audible. The moment you turned to answering that question, your demeanor diminished completely. You became so low. Honorable Minister, is this how you are exercising your energy? On issues of UPND so buoyant, and on issues of your job?
Honorable Member for Lunte, you don't have to describe the Honorable Minister of Water and Sanitation.
No, it's in his office. Sorry, Honorable Minister. Is this how you are exercising your energy in your office? When you are dealing with UPND, you are so happy.
What is
but
the question?
The moment you come to deal with water in Chembe and water in other parts of the country, you are so low, so diminished. Why are you exercising your energy in such a fashion, Honorable Minister? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah. The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you very much, my brother, for that description of me. But obviously, you who is vying to be president, I have a lot of respect for you, and I will not answer back. Madam Speaker, we will respond to questions of whether it's a victory of the UPND, which was sweet, of course. But I stated very, very clearly, my mentioning you, Honorable Kampiong, was that, as a matter of fact, we were missing you on the ground. The Mukushi Member of Parliament clearly stated that you are not participating. It's sad that you're not participating. We want you on the ground. We want you to see how by-elections can be conducted and maybe better. Remember, these by-elections were devoid of violence. Anybody could wear their regalia. Truth be told, for the sake of democracy, it would be good if you resolved your issues and came on the field so that we show you a few things, but also so that we can learn a few things from yourselves. So this was devoid of any malice. As an upcoming president, I can only smile that we are together, sir. The demeanor, whether I'm celebrating or answering questions, will be the same. As a Minister of Water, I'm a minister for all Zambians, including Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, thank you for the answers that you're giving. Madam Speaker, I think it's very sad that after 60 years we are still boasting about having boreholes. It's really sad, Madam Speaker. Luapula in
Honorable
general,
Member, who is boasting of those boreholes?
it's the minister that has been even given 300 boreholes, which is likely to give to Chembe. Now, the question
I'm sure
I have...
he was just informing the House, not boasting. I don't know how you could define boasting, or he was informing the House. So please, let's be very careful with the way we use our words. Boasting and informing the House are two different things. So the minister was informing us of that big number of boreholes, not boasting, because boasting, I think it has another definition. You may continue, Honorable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's very sad that water is a basic right for every Zambian, and it's one of the rights that are UN Charter. Madam Speaker, my question is very simple to the Minister. We have Luapula River, which is just, that's where Chembe is. Instead of making that, instead of making the water going to Kafir, I would ask the Minister as to why they cannot get the same water and just, put and set up something. Let me just ask now the question, Madam Speaker. The question is, my Honorable Minister, the question is, why can't we do away with boreholes? That's why we have a lot of cholera cases in Luapula, Chembe also. Why can't we do away with the boreholes? The monies that we get for boreholes, we use it for buying submersible pumps so that we don't continue with boreholes. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you very much for that very, very important question. I think there are two things I get from Honorable Member of Chienge. She doesn't want me to celebrate the huge number of boreholes I'm receiving. I thought this should be a cause for celebration, actually. We are in dire need of water, Madam, so let's celebrate together. On the other question, I can only sympathize with you. Probably we need to educate you why boreholes are a solution in certain areas. Even in areas where there's a lot of water. It's because obviously, if it's in Luapula, the transmission from Luapula to the village in Chienge may be too long and too expensive. So we may need, yes, we may need solution. Even Chembe, look, we have a river just 10 kilometers away, 5 kilometers away. So you may find that abstracting that water, purifying that water is expensive. But just getting a water scheme, a borehole, is a solution. I'm speaking with authority as an engineer here now. I know you are arguing. But we actually, by the way, Madam Speaker, just in Chieng itself, we are bringing 2 commercial boreholes. And some work is already underway, and not a scheme where we get water, because it's cheaper, it's cheaper, and it will be cheaper to bring it and cheaper to run. When the population grows, like what we are going to do in Chembe, I think the owner of Chembe now, where the population is more concentrated, we have come up with a design for a whole abstraction, transmission, treatment, and distribution network worth about 170 million kwacha, as I've informed you. So we'll do the same for areas with high load centers. For concentrated areas, these are small townships coming up, small locations with a lot of people. We are doing isolated schemes. Drill a borehole, get storage there, power with solar, and do a distribution network around that community. For us, that's the best solution we have for now. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And acknowledging my dear colleague who feels he has missed us on the ground, I just want to assure you that sooner than later, we shall be back on the ground. But I would love to certainly, if I had my way, to support you fully. If those resources we are using and those unnecessary by-elections could be channeled to resolve the issues such as the water challenge in Chembe. What the Honorable MP is seeking, Minister, is for you to consider mean water purification plants that could be for a small community and larger communities because of the abundance of water from the water bodies. What would you, in the meantime, do? Because these are doable. We have got, classic example, if you go to Mwense, Kaputa, and a few areas where those water treatment plants have been done. Would you consider just apportioning some money for that community which is coming up by providing them with a mean treatment? And you know, the contamination of water sometimes, even underground, we can't be granted that the water that we get under the bores is clean for people's consumption. Would you consider a mean water treatment plant to be established in Chembe in order to cushion the challenges our people are facing? As you know, water is life. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and the good news, Honorable Kampiongo, that soon you'll be joining us. And just the comment on by-election, I'm sure, Honorable Kampiongo, you are aware that constitutionally, when that seat falls vacant, we really have to go for by-elections. And as the respecters of the laws of the land, we just have to do that. I agree with you completely on mean water schemes. I did not at all say that these will not be done in all parts of, actually they are being done. So there are specific solutions we are coming up with. Some solutions, as I have advised my honorable member from Chembe, is that in that area, an isolated system will be done. But in the long run, a complete water supply from the river, abstraction from the river, to the purification plant, to the distribution, to the highland tanks, to the distribution system will be done. So we already have done feasibility studies for Chembe, we've even established the estimated costs. So we'll be budgeting for about 170 million kwacha for Chembe. That I can confirm with you. So for Chembe, that's been done. For Chiengi, another system is underway and we've already started. By the way, Madam Speaker, we are doing a lot of these things in the northern part because there were no established systems in these towns. Kawambwa, Chelenge, all these towns, there's something we are doing to ensure that they have quality water supply. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Pardon? Is it a question or point of order? What is your point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as the Honorable Minister was, this point of order is pursuant to Standing Order 71. When my colleague, the Honorable Minister, was responding to my question, he started by giving an impression that I don't know what he meant when he said joining them. I want him to know that as this is me here, I came to this August from the opposition to form government, be part of government and back to the opposition. So I'm not that easily excited. So I can offer checks and balances effectively here and not joining the outgoing government.
Is misleading the House, Madam Speaker. I said joining on the ground, not joining UPND. We also choose who to come with us, to us. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you.
Is he raising a point of order only and a point of order and procedurally, Madam Speaker? Is it in order to even conduct himself like that as a minister who knows the rules? I think you're serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
I think we can take that as a right moment. What I heard the minister was saying, joining him on the ground. The ground which I can't tell which ground, but that is what the minister had mentioned. On a lighter moment, we make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member for Dundumwezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Question number 96.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Member of Parliament for Dundumwezi, Mr. Singombe, asked the Minister of Education, A, how many teachers were deployed to community schools in Dundumwezi parliamentary constituency from 2021 to 2023, year by year? B, why the government had not deployed teachers to the following community schools as of April 2024. 1, Mailamare, 2, Jipondo, 3, Chizunda, 4, Mpango, and 5, Nagalombwe. C, when the government will deploy teachers to the schools at B. And D, when the government will deploy additional teachers to the following schools.
Order, Honorable Members, let's lower our voices.
And Sijibeya Primary School. Madam Speaker, I wish to respond as follows. A total of 11 teachers were deployed to community schools in Dundumwezi Primary Parliamentary constituency, distributed as follows: 1 teacher in 2021, 3 teachers in 2022, and 7 teachers in 2023. B, currently the government has deployed 1 teacher each to Mailamare, Jipondo, Pango, and the Nagalombwe community schools. However, at Chizunda Community School, a teacher was initially sent but could not remain due to the lack of suitable accommodation. And say the government will continue deploying teachers to the schools listed in B as soon as sufficient infrastructure is available. The process depends on securing essential resources, including adequate teacher accommodation and additional staffing. And D, additional teachers will be deployed to Habwega Community School and Sivya Primary School once accommodation and other essential facilities are in place, and once the Treasury Authority for expanded teacher recruitment is granted. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Dundumwezi.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to ask a follow-up question to the Minister of Education. Honorable Minister, you have indicated that in 2021, one teacher was sent to Dundumwezi, and in 2023, 7 teachers were sent to Dundumwezi. And it's clear, Honorable Minister, that the constituency is still behind in terms of teachers in the constituency. Just last week, you indicated that 14 new classroom blocks have been built in the constituency. And we have also tried to ensure that those classroom blocks are equipped with desks. Aren't you considering sending more teachers, Honorable Minister, bearing in mind that new classroom blocks have been built in the constituency? Thank you so much, Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, the numbers that I was indicating are not like those are the only teachers that were sent. These were just sent to these community schools. Otherwise, the number of teachers were sent to Dundumwezi is more than this. But these, in particular, are community schools. You have about 35 community schools in Dundumwezi. Yeah, 35. Of the 60 community schools in the Kalamo district. And I think just last week, we received the gazette notices for many of these schools to be gazetted. So I think they will have a fair share as we recruit more teachers. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Dundumwezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you are aware that before 2021, all these schools had no teachers and were not receiving any form of grants. Now that you have brought a very good policy where the New Dawn government is sending grants to these schools, my question still remains, are you considering sending us more schools so that these monies that you are sending do not find themselves in what we call community teachers, but government teachers who are able to account for these grants, Honorable Minister? Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is why I said, Honorable Member for Dundumwezi, I said just last week we received gazetting the schools, the community schools. Therefore, we have many. In fact, right now, I was told that many of the government teachers want to go to these community schools because they want to be in charge of these grants that we are giving. So we'll send more teachers in these community schools. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'll get to the last two, the Honorable Member for Mbabala and the Honorable Member for Mitete. The Honorable Member for Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And thank you, Hon Minister. Following up on the question from Dundumwezi, we just had an experience of similar nature as Parliamentary Caucus on Children visiting Feni village in Eastern Province. A similar question was raised to us on the community schools. The sustainability of these community schools, wonderful early childhood development centers built, very good infrastructure, excellent program and community engagement, but the sustainability of these programs is hampered by the lack of qualified government teachers. What is the policy of government to ensure that these community schools can continue to function very well with salaried staff from your ministry. And of course in Mbabara we are very thankful. We have received some of the teachers in this community school like Chobaganga in Mbabara area. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Like I said earlier, Madam Speaker, we will continue deploying qualified teachers to all these community schools, so that the children have a fair share of professional teaching. Yeah. Like I said, Dudumwezi has got 35 community schools. So, and given the Gazette, I think many of these will have teachers, trained teachers. Thank you.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Mitete.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, you are too economical with the truth, because the country may just know to say it's just one teacher and 7 teachers, as you were rightly so responding to that question. But would you know as to how many teachers in total sent to Ndundumwezi? More so 2022, 2023. So that the country will know that it's not only one teacher sent to Ndundumwezi. Madam Speaker, that's all what I want the minister to tell us, because it would look like it's just 1 and then 7. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The total from 2021 to 2024 is 18 teachers, and these are just community schools. Obviously, I have in 2020, there were only 5 teachers sent in these community schools. But in the last 2.5 years, we've sent about 18 teachers. And these teachers are only for community schools. So if we had to deal with the other recruitments, I'm sure there will be plenty of them in what. So you can come to my office and show you how many we have actually deployed, not only the community schools, because these are just community schools. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Isoka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The good people of Isoka are asking question number 97.
The Acting Minister of Community Development and Social Services, that is the Minister of Information.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Isoka constituency has asked the Honorable Minister of Community Development and Social Services the following question. What measures the government is implementing to enhance the fight against child marriage countrywide? Madam Speaker, the following are our response. Government remains steadfast in its efforts to end child marriage and has continued to implement policies and programs aimed at addressing the vice. Some of the interventions on ending child marriage that government is implementing include the following. A, the revision of the national strategy on ending child marriage in order to prioritize the prevention and eradication of child marriage. B, the enactment of the Children's Code Act number 12 of 2022 criminalizes the practice of child marriage. C, the free education and re-entry policies from primary to secondary school level. The policy framework ensures that more children, especially girls, have access to education and stay in school. as a precondition for better livelihood opportunities in future, as opposed to being married off early. D. Further, the Keeping Girls in School program ensures that poor and vulnerable girls are educated as opposed to being married off at a tender age. The program is important in creating future opportunities for girls in order for them to have independent and decent livelihoods in future. E. The engagement of communities on social behavioral change in promoting positive gender norms through community dialogues, targeting key community gatekeepers such as traditional leaders and church leaders. F. Government has developed minimum community case management service package for community welfare assistance committees, which allows for early identification of children at risk and links them to protection to help prevent the occurrence of child early marriage. G. The amendment of the Marriage Amendment Act number 13 of 2023 of the laws of Zambia is a landmark legislation as it sets 18 years as the legal age, minimum age for all marriages, including those under customary law. H. There is ongoing sensitization on the negative impact of child marriage using various community fora throughout the country. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Isoka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, through you, Honorable Minister, how frequent is your ministry in touch with the local community to learn more about the main cause of early marriages, especially in rural districts like my constituents, Isoka constituents, and what are the main causes that they have put forward to you? I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And I can indicate with confidence here that the ministry does interact at various levels throughout the community to ensure sensitization on this ending this particular vice. And Madam Speaker, the government operates also through various platforms and at various occasions of government interacting with various communities, such as at the traditional ceremony which was in Isoka or Nakonde recently, such as the one which was in Chief Nyawa over the weekend. The President takes occasion to be able to remind community leaders, particularly traditional leaders, to continue to promote the good work they are doing to sensitize members of the community towards behavioral change, turning away from the practice of engaging into early marriages. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Isoka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, what other alternative measures is your ministry using to ensure that children, especially young girls, are not married off early despite government implementing free education? I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I have outlined the various interventions that the government is putting in place to ensure that this scourge is discouraged. But fundamental amongst them is the amendment of the Marriage Act, which has put a minimum age upon which to allow any person to get married, including customary marriage. So that is mandatory now because it has become a criminal offense for one to marry a child who is below the age of 18, and that is the most patent means through which government can ensure compliance by citizens. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kasama Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, how is the ministry monitoring and measuring the effectiveness of the various initiatives in order to ensure sustainable impact? And are there new or expanded policies focused on law enforcement against perpetrators? I thank you.
The Acting Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Madam Speaker, the community is monitoring, the government is monitoring the efficacy of its interventions by having reports at various of our outlets across the country. Not too long ago, Madam Speaker, the permanent secretary for this particular ministry was doing what I could refer to as a national tour to be able to find out the efficacy of the various intervention measures the government is putting in place, and we are satisfied with that kind of work program to ensure that we get feedback so that we are now able to see as a ministry that what we are doing is getting the desired results and or that something else needs to be done. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Kalulushi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you for giving the good people of Kadulushi an opportunity to ask the Acting Minister of Community Development a question on their behalf. Minister, the Children's Code Bill was passed by this Parliament, I think 2 years ago, and obviously society out there is expecting its implementation. And then part of the Children's Code Bill is the issue of early marriages and what should be done to the parents that allow their children to get married early. Ministry of Community Development Minister has a very good program, the Emergency Social Cash Transfer. But because of the levels of high poverty, we are witnessing children as young as 16, 15 getting married or getting pregnant because they want to access that fund, the 800 kwacha, because there's a component of pregnant mothers. What is your ministry doing about this emergency social cash transfer as in regards to children that are under 18 because they are accessing this money? Thank you, Minister.
The Acting Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I would like to thank the Honourable Member for that particular important question, and to agree with her that one of the root causes of early marriages is actually poverty. And that is why the new Dawn administration, in identifying means to tackle poverty, has placed premium on ensuring sharing the best equalizer inheritance to the young people of this country by giving them free education. And when they are equipped with an education, they are able to inform the choices and actions they take, in life. Now, the issue of emergency social cash transfer, Madam Speaker, I must indicate that we have to get to authenticate the statement that has been made by my colleague as to whether that incentive has actually created an opportunity or a window to be able to subtract from what government is trying to attain by discouraging them to get married early. But the law still remains, no one gets married to somebody under the age of 18. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, thank you very much for that, for those responses. It is gratifying, Honourable Minister, to hear all the measures that the government is putting in place to deter this vice, such as free education, revision of the acts, amending of the acts, fantastic measures. Minister, this is a real problem that has not spared even urban constituencies like my constituency. My question, Honourable Minister, is regardless of all these measures that the government is putting in place to deter this vice, could you have any statistics, Honourable Minister, to give to this House or give to the nation to show that even when you are putting up these measures, the vice is reducing. Do you have the information that after putting up all these deterrent measures, this practice is actually going down rather than going up? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Madam Speaker, I don't have the statistics with myself here. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, or rather Acting Minister for Community and Development. Madam Speaker, we have this challenge, it's the countrywide challenge, should I say even just Africa. There are some certain secondary schools which have used some initiative to have the young girls, like at Mutumpa school in Chiengi, the young girls themselves, they're doing voluntary work, and they are going around discouraging their colleagues from getting married before age. Now, my question is, looking at the statistics, Madam Speaker, 1.7 million child brides in Zambia, 400,000 of whom were married before the age of 15. What is it that the government is going to do in order to support such young ladies or such young girls or boys who are campaigning against early child marriage? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Madam Speaker, I thank you, and I thank the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chiengi for introducing an aspect for which I made no reference to, and I would like to prepare an answer so that she can be given adequate answers from this working government. I thank you, Madam.
Next question. The Honorable Member for Solwezi East.
Very much, Madam Speaker. May I take this opportunity to thank the Copper Queens for winning the COSAFA Cup and Kawe for winning the by-election. Madam Speaker, the people of Solwezi East are asking question number 98. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Media.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament, Honorable Katakwe, would like to ask the Minister of Information and Media the following question. In A, what is the contractual relationship between Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC, and Star Times is following the completion of the digital migration? B, what the cost of digital migration was? C, who the funders of the project at B were? And D, whether Star Times was still assisting with maintenance of the equipment at ZNBC as of April 2024. Here is our response, Madam Speaker. At A, Madam Speaker, what is the contractual relationship is between ZNBC and Star Times following the digital migration? Let me begin at the outset to indicate that notwithstanding the framing of the question, Madam Speaker, the digital migration program is not complete, as it still has about 10% works outstanding. Madam Speaker, Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation and the Star Times Communication Network Technology Company Limited are partners to the joint venture company called Topstar Communications Company Limited, providing public signal distribution in Zambia. B, Madam Speaker, on what the cost of digital migration was, Madam Speaker, the total cost of digital migration was 273,154,281. million United States dollars. And at C, Madam Speaker, on who the funders of the project at B were, Madam Speaker, the funders of the Zambia National Digital Migration Project was the government of the Republic of Zambia, acting through the Ministry of Finance and National Planning through a loan obtained from the Export and Import Exim Bank of China, and amounts totaling 231,181,138 United States dollars, and self-raised funding amounting to 40,972 $142 respectively. At D, Madam Speaker, on whether StarTimes was still assisting with maintenance of the equipment at ZNBC as of April 2024.
As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes.
Business has been suspended for 20 minutes health break, and business resumes at 17 hours, and at the time business was suspended. Under consideration is question 98, in which Mr. Alex Katapwe, Solwezi East Constituency Member of Parliament, did ask the Minister of Information and Media, and at the time business was being suspended, the Minister of Information and Media was answering questions from Mr. Alex Katapwe.
And so simply put, the Solwezi East lawmaker wanted to find out from the Minister of Information and Media what the contractual relationship between Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC, and StarTimes is following the completion of the digital migration. He also wanted to find out the total cost of the digital migration, and the Minister did say that it's 273,154,281 billion United States dollars. The Solwezi East lawmaker also wanted to find out who the funders of the project were, and the Minister did say that it was the Zambian government. So the other part of the question will be responded to by the Minister immediately after the break. So before we take a break, we'll have a brief look at what has been considered on the floor of the House so far.
So when business resumed sitting at 14:30 hours today, Madam Speaker did make some announcements, and in the first announcement she did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Rusangu Secondary School in Monze district.
In the other announcement, Madam First Deputy Speaker did inform the House that approval has been granted for the Catholic Church to hold Mass for Catholic members of Parliament and staff. That's on Wednesday, 6th November 2024 in the amphitheatre here at Parliament Buildings, and that honourable members may wish to know that attendance is not restricted to members of the Catholic Church. In this regard, all honourable members of Parliament and staff are encouraged to attend this event, which will take place from 12:30 hours to 13:50 hours tomorrow.
In the other announcement, Madam Speaker did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Handmaids Convent Girls School in Lusaka district, and on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Madam Speaker did warmly welcome the visitors to the National Assembly.
Madam First Deputy Speaker did render a ruling on a point of order raised on Tuesday, 15th October 2024 by Dr. C. Anzeleki, Member of Parliament for Katombora constituency, on the status of Mr. J. E. Banda, Member of Parliament for Petauke Central constituency. This follows his absence from the House after his disappearance from Chipata Central Hospital, and on the status of Mr. R.K.H. Totela, Member of Parliament for Pambashi constituency, following his conviction, and Mr. N. Chilangwa, Member of Parliament for Kaambo constituency, following his sentencing. And just now we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Honorable Dr. Aaron Mwanza is an area member of Parliament for Kaumbwe constituency. Was born and bred in Kaumbwe constituency at village Mwanjawantu, and did his primary school at Mwanjawantu Primary School, went to secondary school at Chasa Boys, and then went to the University of Zambia. He did civil engineering, I did so well at UNZA, and I was retained as a lecturer in civil engineering. And then I went for master degree in China. I did in the in the same field of civil engineering. So after completing my master degree in China, I came back, taught at the University of Zambia again, and then I went for my PhD again to China in the same field of civil engineering. My expertise are in roads and railway engineering. And then I completed my PhD in 2012. After completing my PhD in 2012, I was employed by China Railways in China. And I've had a lot of international exposure in highway and road development projects that have been like government to government, China and African governments, and also European, some South American countries, also to say developing nations. I have 26 years of experience in this field. And on the local front, I participated in the designs for the greatest road from Luangwa Bridge up to Mwami border, Mongu Senanga Road. Talk about Road D2 from Kapiri to Serenje. Also, so many road projects in the country, as well as railway projects. Railway projects on the railway front. On the railway front, whilst working in China with China Railways, I spearheaded the project to have a line connected from Eastern Province to connect to Tazara. We did feasibility study, and government had a bankable document which is still there. Apparently, just due to fiscal space, the project hasn't taken place. But I'm sure we should be able to do the project soon. I'm married, and my children, I've got 2 children. They are in China. Kaumbwe constituency, you know, has a population of 60,000 people. Kaumbwe constituency is bordering Mozambique. And in terms of other constituencies, it is bordering Kapoche constituency and the Petauke Central. Kaumbwe constituency is the least developed constituency in Zambia. Zambia has 156 constituencies. Now we are the least developed constituency in the country. This is on record. It is written in the what they call economic outlook index, for using the multidimensional index, meaning to check the poverty levels. You know, they look at how many people are employed in the Kaumbwe constituency, are there industries, and so on. So we fall at, imagine we're falling at 94% poverty levels. Well, but the people are happy. We are happy people. It is a place, it is a sweet place. We like to enjoy our traditional ceremonies and so on and so forth. So you find that Kaumbwe is a place also that is very hospitable. There is hospitality. Kaumbwe constituency has no industry. There is no source of any job. The only source of income is farming. Our land has become infertile. We have to depend on agricultural subsidies like FISIP programs. And these FISIP programs, they are not even enough. Also, the distribution is very erratic. Right now, I'm so much worried about the hunger. The situation has become like this simply because the last season, the farming production was very low due to, of course, due to climatic factors, as well as the late delivery of inputs. Now, it seems that problem is going to repeat itself this season, because up to now, not even a single bag of fertilizer has been delivered to the constituency. Well, these are just some of the current issues. But to describe better about the constituency, the challenges, as they are outlined in the in the national survey that was conducted, you find that education We have no government boarding secondary school, the whole constituency, not even one. We do not have a referral hospital. A referral hospital is only in Petauke, which the furthest part from Chizanda is about 60 kilometers. Now imagine you are sick in Chizanda. The referral hospital is so many kilometers away. The few clinics that are in the constituency does not provide the desirable health care that we want. Look at the roads. The roads, thank God that the previous government embarked on the OPRC project. Right now we cannot complain on the road part. But the major issues that we are looking at is water supply also. We need to improve the water supply by sinking boreholes across the constituency. The development agenda, first of all, I'm looking at improving the livelihood of the people by, first of all, providing education, which is education is an equalizer. We need to provide education, and so we're going to provide education by upgrading at least 4 day secondary schools to full-time government boarding secondary schools, namely Mwanjawantu Primary School, Mwanjawantu Day Secondary School, Lusinde Day Secondary School, Ngombeni Matole Secondary School, and Zumaire. These, they are in plan that we upgrade them to full-time, fully fledged government boarding secondary school. Why this step? It's because they will realize the benefits from government in terms of government bursaries. Right now, government has given us 40% of the CDF to be used on government bursaries to support students, and yet in my constituency I can only afford 70 students. So from that money, from more than 1.2 million kwacha, only 200,000 kwacha is going to be used for bursaries. That is education. That is the first division. Then the second one